Of course, you guys catch me readjusting the headset. Hello, we're gonna do a little bonus Q&A here for anyone who might have questions. Please put them in the Twitch chat, and I will see if I can answer them. We are in the lovely CozyCon Island here. Y'all should definitely check it out. Hi, Smiley Beaks, thank you. I'm glad you liked the panel. And hi, Goldie. Thank you for joining. Bonus section, yes. Hi, Shasta. Void Quail says, for virtual cons, how do you manage expansion, increase of attendees, increase of vendors, additional days? Since you aren't limited by con or hotel space, is this more limited by community volunteers and vendors? That's a really good question. So generally, it's a mix of things. You definitely will be limited to how much you can do based on how many volunteers you have. You need the people power to be able to run something. So if you do have enough people to run something longer than you can, you also need to be mindful that your audience itself, folks have day jobs. So making an event that is too long, you're going to tire people out. It's going to be too much for folks to handle in between their day job and other stuff that they need to do. That's kind of, I think, generally why a lot of conventions run really no more than like 3.5, 4 days tops. And digital conventions will often do weekend plus maybe like a Friday because, I mean, people are busy, right? Like they have to actually be home to enjoy your content. So like a lot of factors come into play. Really though, if you are running a convention, talk with your team. Like figure out what you folks figure you can do together, and ask your audience what they would like to see, and find that like happy medium. Where can we find the VR chat world links? Oh, wrong chat. You can find them on our website, in the Game Worlds channel in Discord, or by searching like CozyCon in VR chat. Boy Cub says, thank you for this panel. I'm so glad you liked it. I hope it was helpful. Void Quell says, for future CozyCon events, what social media platforms do you find your con attendees use the most? I'd hate to focus on a Twitter thread for vendor updates when most CozyCon folks are on Mastodon and Instagram. Yeah, so there is not going to be an easy thing for that. With Twitter exploding as much as it has, that was the primary place to be for a long period of time, but now that's not necessarily the case. You do have to branch out and be on multiple platforms. It takes up so much energy, but it's kind of have to be done. So for CozyCon, we do have a Twitter, we do have an Instagram, we have a Facebook, we have a Telegram, we have the Discord, we have a Mastodon, and we try and keep up with the changes that are happening so that we can make sure that we are offering spaces that our audience actually wants. Mastodon is still like not as big as Twitter, so like the engagement and everything there is different, and it's very different. There's like no algorithms, so it can actually be a breath of fresh air when trying to find stuff. But in the end, really talk with your audience, figure out what works for them the most, put out a poll. Every community is different. Like some communities I know that people are in, they work solely on Telegram or Facebook still. So it really just depends. Goldie says, do you have any advice about stage fright? I find virtual stuff way more intimidating when I can see, or then when I can see people personally. Yeah. Everybody's got different levels of like social energy. I find virtual stuff to be really fun, but the headset is really heavy, so I can only be in for short periods of time. I have to like prepare well in advance to conventions, like mentally prepare to have to talk to people all the time. It's hard to give straight up advice for it, other than like if you're running a table, practice what you're going to say when somebody comes by. Practice saying, what's at your table, where you can find stuff ahead of time so that you don't have to feel like you're winging it when you're there. But as for virtual stuff, if it's not your bag, then, you know, it doesn't have to be something that you have to do. It's not for everyone, and that's okay. People tend to pick which platform they want to like be on. That's why we have multiple places. If people who want a quieter experience can just view our website. Folks who want to be more interested in the community aspect can be on Discord, and those who want to do VR can do VR. We even have a Minecraft server if you just want to like play some survival games with other people. Jackter says, I've been feeling very iffy recently promoting my music releases, and every chat I'm in, I feel it's a little spammy, but I've also been told by people it's a good marketing tactic. Is that true? Yes. It can be spammy, but as long as you're being like respectful about how much you post, it's really not a big deal. There will be people who will see it and will be like, oh, hey, this looks interesting. I'll check it out. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get people responding to the posts. I post in lots of chats and like tend to not hear anything from anyone. Occasionally I'll get a, hey, nice artwork. Just putting it out there gets your name into that community, and they'll recognize your name. So when something comes up, they'll be like, oh, hey, I recognize this person, and might be more interested in seeing what you're doing. There's like a saying, I don't remember the exact number, but it's like a person has to see something like 4 or 5 times before they'll actually click it. So, you know, the more you talk about what you're doing and try to engage with people, the more likely you are to get folks to actually come check out your work. And just leaving a link to your stuff may not always be the best approach. Sometimes, you know, writing a question like, you know, what do you folks think about this? Here's something specific I'm doing. Share a clip, ask them a question. Putting out polls can be really helpful as well for a different kind of engagement. I've been trying to do more VR chat, like commercial type stuff, like, hey, I have an update. I'm in VR and I can now post a video on socials. Like, there's different ways to engage people who prefer different kinds of content. So I would just give things a try. Void Coil, what's the time? You have 5 minutes? Right. Void Coil says, wrote these down ahead of time, so I'm copy pasting. That's totally cool, and I can appreciate that. Love the panel. I'm so glad. Thank you. It was really informative. One last one. Some cons will advertise certain guests of honor. It doesn't look like CozyCon does this, at least for this year. Are special guests or community celebrities hard to integrate into the virtual con space? I don't think they're hard to integrate into a virtual con space. We just haven't done it. CozyCon came about because, you know, lockdown happened and we wanted to provide a space for vendors, specifically, a space to try and make some sales during the rough times. So we try and put our funding and our effort back into the community to support the vendors and the panelists and the DJs and all the folks who are doing stuff from home, who need a little bit of revenue, who want an opportunity to be seen on a platform like this. So we haven't done a guest of honor or a charity for that matter, because our goal is to really focus on the people who are actually participating in the event as panelists or DJs or vendors or what have you. So that's just kind of been our goal, and at this point I don't think we have any specific plans to change that. But I have seen other events integrate their guests into virtual spaces just fine. It's not a whole lot different than scheduling special panels and, you know, doing cross-promotion with them and getting folks to like come to their panels. It's same stuff as like the marketing and whatever, as long as you like put it out there ahead of time for folks to know and have the guest actually post about it as well, then it can be really good for everyone. Mary Lee says, which is why you want templates that work with multiple platforms. Yes, I have ones that have different sizes in them so I can just move things around and make stuff. It saves me so much time. Like, I don't try and do stuff just you know, from scratch every time. It wastes so much time. Void Coil says, thank you for answering my questions. This was a great panel. Not a problem. Thank you for all of the really good questions. I'm happy I could answer them. If I have time, is the VR headset worth it in your opinion? Like, does it help you interact with the community enough to be worth the funds? I don't know if I can really answer that. The VR headset isn't just for a business thing, right? Like, it is for having fun and interacting with people in a different way, as well as I can utilize it for business. So it's kind of a business and pleasure sort of thing. Also, this isn't my headset. This is my partner's headset. They're expensive. It's not something that I can really afford. Like, Quests and stuff are cheaper. You can get them at relatively decent prices, but I had some hangups about not wanting to get a Quest in particular. So I use my partner's headset. But it can be a really fun way to get to know people or meet people at a vendor booth during an event. I find it to be really helpful in that regard, and I've had tons of fun. So, like, it really depends on what your goals are. Wickub says, what are some good templates to work on? Text for Twitter posts, visual templates for sales? Both. I have templates for visuals for advertisements, like commission sales and all that sort of stuff, so I can just pop stuff in and make it work. And then I also have spreadsheets and stuff for kind of like a basic template for certain kinds of posts that I want to try, if there's a particular type of campaign or whatever, like something that I really want to hammer out in a few weeks, like I've got a brand new commission type coming out, or maybe I'm running a Kickstarter or what have you. I will plan that out more thoroughly so that I can just schedule a whole bunch of it and kind of like run with it as we go. We can see how each of the posts work out, and you can kind of track that with the analytics. I am at 1 minute. What do we got here? VR can be passive marketing. I do agree. Gumroad templates and the like, yes, it's actually on my plate to make templates and streaming UI and stuff like that to put on Gumroad eventually, so stay tuned for that. That is my time. Thank you all for joining, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your CozyCon. This will be on YouTube after, and stay cozy.